I mean, this was a calculated attempt against the families. I mean, the one thing that Samantha Markle always predicted.
So Harry and Meghan want us to discuss the fact that they executive produced Cookie Queens and popped up at the Sundance Film Festival. And I'm happy to oblige, but not in the way they probably hoped.
Shocking truth about Meghan Markle's so-called Cookie Queens is being revealed after a disastrous appearance at the Sundance Film Festival.
I thought she behaved so badly, and Harry too.
She blames the media for her, in his words, murdered her, which is complete nonsense.
Tom Bower, the legendary royal author, is sharpening his quill. Every single thing he has written about Meghan.
First person to say how limited Prince Harry is, unfortunately, and how his wife trades off her husband's fame and fortune, or not so great fortune now. I mean, this is the problem, but we're still interested because, after all, he's a great character in our modern day.
And didn't want to, firstly, be seen with Harry, and secondly, didn't want to go somewhere where she'd appear cheap and give it gratis. And this year, she is desperate to be seen. Yeah. And that's why she turned up. So
a tough spotlight is turning back on Meghan Markle after a messy Sundance moment, one that's now pulling the curtain back on the reality behind the Cookie Queen's hype. Harry and Meghan want the conversation centered on one thing: their executive producer credit on Cookie Queens and their Sundance appearance. Fine, let's talk about it, because the story coming out of that festival isn't the comeback they were aiming for. It's the beginning of a public unraveling. Tom Bower has just dropped a detail that reframes the entire...
Meghan, because that was the sort of person she was looking for, famous and rich.
I don't think Harry feels any remorse. And I think that is the key thing in all this reconciliation. He still thinks that he's owed an apology from Charles and from William for the way they've treated not only him but also Meghan. And he doesn't want to realise that it's his behaviour, his writing for money, being so unbelievable.
Entire Sundance rollout. Multiple people at the festival claim Meghan didn't even watch the documentary she was promoting. And from there, the optics get worse fast. Empty seats, backlash from the Girl Scouts world, and a film that reportedly highlights child exploitation, a message she seemed to miss completely. What's emerged in the last 2 days is genuinely wild, and the details matter. So let's walk through exactly what happened, piece by piece, and why this premiere became a story of embarrassment instead of applause. Picture the entrance. Meghan arrives at Sundance like it's an award season victory lap. Posed photos, polished smiles, designer styling, and speeches framing Cookie Queens as something powerful.
Perhaps. So he's they toddle over to Sundance, where allegedly they have produced, their names are on the stock as a producer, a documentary about Girl Scouts trying to sell their cookies. It's called Cookie Queen. Edge of your seat viewing, okay? Now
But the people who were actually there describe a totally different energy. One that suggests she bought into the project without truly knowing what it contained or what it was saying. Inside the theater, the numbers told the real story. Reports describe roughly 150 empty seats at Sundance, where tickets are normally fought over. As the screening went on, staff were allegedly pushed into the room to make it look less vacant, and even then, dozens of seats stayed empty once the film actually started. This is what makes it so brutal. Sundance theaters usually
And it's no surprise, really, that it seems Meghan has no idea about the truth of the film that she is promoting, given that she decided to buy it without actually having anything to do with its production. But of course, Meghan's behaviour towards the children themselves is also being exposed. Look at this from the red carpet, where she really did prove that she don't like these children. She's not at all interested about being around these children. And actually what she likes is the very quick pose for a
flow. People wait for hours. Films sell out instantly. Yet this screening didn't. And that matters, because Sundance is where you go when you still need someone to buy your film. If a major platform truly wanted it, it wouldn't be hunting for a distributor under festival lights. Meghan's team has framed this as a 2-year labor of love. But if Netflix or any major outlet saw real value here, This wouldn't be playing as a sales pitch at Sundance. What's painful is watching the performance of a triumphant return, while the reality reads like desperation dressed up as prestige. Now comes the claim that changes everything. People who sat through the screening say the disconnect between the film and Meghan's post-screening remarks was so obvious, they reached the same conclusion independently. Harry and Meghan didn't watch the documentary they were championing. And when that's what the room believes, the damage is immediate. Because it's not just PR failure, it's credibility collapse.
They're such dopes. They're such dummies. You come to me. Good luck selling that movie, because what real drama requires is some conflict and some tension. And if the only real narrative question in Cookie Queens is, will these girls sell all their cookies so they can have another year with the Girl Scouts? But the answer is, yeah, of course, because their parents have to buy them in bulk. Story's over.
It's over. I've told you the whole movie. I'm sorry, did I give away the plot? Maybe not. That's the whole movie. That's the whole movie. They stretch it into an hour and a half. It's telling that Harry and Meghan did not get up and introduce the movie. Normally the stars, the producers.
So what does the film reportedly show? Not a cute cookie story, but a system where families pay hundreds or even thousands up front, then scramble to recover costs. The classic door-to-door tradition fades into something else. Social media selling, workplace networks, an advantage stacked toward families with money and connections. The message lands hard. Success isn't earned, it can be bought. And the deeper you go, the darker it gets. The documentary report.
Meghan Markle, yesterday, we talked about her brand new cookie documentary, Cookie Queens. Ooh, and I said it then. I'm like, is this a good documentary? Like, because the Girl Scouts, as we call here, they're called Girl Guides elsewhere. I just learned kind of the same organization. Kind of a questionable thing. Like, yes.
Reportedly shows children being coached to sell through charm. Sometimes even guilt. It isn't empowerment when kids are trained to perform cuteness as a tactic, or when sympathy becomes a sales tool. Beneath the badges and smiles, the story reads less like tradition and more like exploitation. And the most shocking part is that the people promoting it seemed not to grasp that at all. Then comes another detail that fuels the backlash. Reporting suggests Meghan was never actually a Girl Scout. She was a brownie, an age group that typically doesn't sell cookies.
It has its positives. Traditionally, it's more, richer upper class families that partake, and usually more affluent families and kids who succeed at selling the most cookies. And yeah, it's felt a little exploitative, if I'm going to be honest, even just from hearing what it was about, as these like very little kids almost are like, paraded around, clearly with parents behind the scenes. And yeah, now reports are coming in that there's a lot more drama than I guess Meghan was aware of.
Yet she spoke publicly as if she had personal cookie selling experience. And in a moment like this, even a small exaggeration doesn't stay small. It becomes another brick in the trust problem. Behind the scenes, the Girl Scouts world is described as furious. Sources claim the organization feels exposed and blindsided, especially because the film allegedly includes a disclaimer stating they had no involvement. Yet Meghan spoke at Sundance like a public ambassador for the cause, pulling them into headlines they never asked for. And here's the angle that reframes motive. The project is framed as less about cookies and more about rivalry, an attempt to outshine Catherine, who's associated with the Girl Guides in the UK. The claim is simple. Meghan saw an opening.
Prince Harry and Meghan Markle are shopping their new Cookie Queens, a film The Hollywood Reporter described as saccharine sweet, meaning Netflix has passed on the movie. Despite this, the Sussexes still showed up at the Sundance screening, smiling, clapping and basking in praise. Markle, a former scout herself, revealed her favourite Girl Scout cookie, Thin Mints naturally, and gushed that the film was not just adorable, but one of the most meaningful and powerful depictions of American tradition. But what tradition is she talking about? Selling cookies or getting into debt? Because beneath the bows, badges and big smiles, Cookie Queens tells a far more uncomfortable story, one that some audience members
jumped fast and didn't do the homework needed to understand what she was attaching herself to. This fits a familiar pattern being argued here. They don't build, they attach. Reports cite a long list of executive producers, with Harry and Meghan added late, after the film was already finished, which turned Sundance into something awkward. A red carpet moment built on minimal involvement, but maximum visibility. More fallout. Sources claim her on-stage comments landed like empty buzzwords. Big themes, vague phrasing, no substance. Even small moments like being asked a simple question about a favorite cookie reportedly turned into deflection.
All of these elements that are baked in, dare I say, to the tradition of the Girl Scouts cookie season. So Meghan is very much now aware of this criticism and trying to say, oh, this is a good thing. This is a good thing. Okay then. The question from Variety was, with two of the subjects being from California, Meghan, did watching them make you nostalgic? She replies, yes, without question, especially now as a mother of a daughter, there's a very different lens that you're witnessing it through. And of course, being reminiscent of my own experience of having been a Girl Scout in California, I love how varied and diverse the casting is. I love that you see some of these families and what they're sacrificing to give their daughters these.
And that's the critique in a sentence. Everything looks like performance, and nothing feels grounded. Now zoom out. The filmmakers reportedly regret the association, because the Sussex brand no longer signals prestige. It signals controversy. And the most damning irony is this. For a couple known for speaking about protecting children, the film allegedly highlights child exploitation and financial pressure, and yet they publicly celebrated it as empowerment.
That's not a bad thing if it's intentional. This time, it clearly wasn't. Now, here's what's interesting. Like, I'm trying to gather more insight, and I even was like looking up these reviews. It's like, well, what's it actually about? Is it like anti-Girl Scout? Is it actually calling it out? But the little reviews I can find clearly, get into like, there's a couple of little things here I want to bring up. Girls seem to have subconsciously absorbed that guilt-tripping potential customers is part of the game, luring in marks with the pity for the vendors' disadvantages: poverty, not being white, having a disability, and a culture overwhelmingly rigged to favor little girls like white middle-class Olive. And so it goes in and talks about sort of the cuteness of, oh yeah, but then also the real fact here of just like how much these cute kids are to get these cookies. At one point, they even talk about, luckily, Nikki's youth, sunny disposition,
and the business reality is brutal. There's reportedly still no distribution deal. Sundance came and went, the speeches happened, the photos were taken, yet nobody's buying. The premiere didn't launch a success story, it advertised a problem. Then there's the whiplash the public can't ignore. Days after Harry was in court emphasizing media intrusion and pleading for privacy, he's suddenly on a plane to Sundance, walking the red carpet, inviting cameras, chasing attention. That contradiction becomes the headline all by itself. The takeaway being pushed here is stark. This fiasco is presented as proof that Prince William's hardline strategy is justified.
It weird that she's doing a film on Scouts and then she deflects from the conversation around her own daughter being in Girl Scouts. Like, if it were me, if I'm producing a film on Girl Scouts and they said, would your kid be in Scouts? I'd say, yes, I love the program. But it's also weird to me that they're even doing a film on Girl Scouts. Like, why would you be doing a film on this if you didn't think it was a good enough program for your daughter? But, we had some sleuths go in and look. I don't think the screenings are full. I don't think there's a lot of demand to go see Girl Scouts. I think there are a lot of empty seats. If you notice, Harry and Meghan, they're not posting any pictures of the theaters or the screenings or the showings. And so I don't know if there's a lot of demand for a film about Girl Scouts, to be completely honest. I think some freaks and disgusting guys at home might want to watch it, to be honest, if we're going to go there. I don't know young girls who want to watch a movie or a show about Girl Scouts. They want to go out and play with their friends. And so I don't understand the business model, but I think Harry and Meghan are just poor decision makers in general. And it's just going back to
cut ties, remove access, and stop enabling the chaos. And this is the closing argument. They repeatedly attach their names to things they don't fully understand, then act surprised when controversy follows. Here, the claims stack up. She didn't watch the film. The theater was half empty. The Girl Scouts world is angry. The documentary's real message undercuts their public stance.
No, nobody wants it. Netflix certainly not. But one of the interesting things is that I'm sure that she didn't have anything to do with it. She didn't write anything. She didn't, do anything to make it work well. And so she didn't know anything. And she said with the film, it's not just adorable, but one of the most powerful and meaningful depiction of an American tradition. Now, that's really nonsense. They're just teenagers, aren't they, trying to sell a few sweets, cakes. But she obviously said that because she didn't know what was going on. So that was her thing, something most powerful and meaningful. It's ridiculous. And she said as well, I think for me, to the viewpoint of a mother, I find it really inspiring. Well, it's not exactly inspiring, isn't it? Is it?
And the market still isn't buying. If this is how their year opens, the question isn't what happens next week. It's where they'll be by the end of the year.